ever find yourself wondering why English class felt, well, a little boring sometimes? You are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful shift in education, one that's swapping out some of those older methods for something way more engaging and honestly way more effective. Ugh, this scene. Does it look a little too familiar? You know, that endless stack of worksheets, the lessons on grammar or vocab that felt totally disconnected from everything else. For a lot of us, this was English class, right? Just a quiet solo mission of filling in the blanks. But what if it looked like this instead? Totally different, right? I mean, vibrant, collaborative, a place where students are actually creating stuff, not just sitting there and consuming information. This is where English class is headed, and we're about to pull back the curtain and show you exactly how it all works. So what we're really talking about here is a huge change in how we think about it all. It's about moving away from a bunch of random, disconnected tasks and instead turning learning into these awesome real-world missions. Missions that actually challenge students to think, to create, and to work together. Okay, so what's the official name for this new approach? It's called Project-Based Learning. You'll hear it called PBL. And we're going to look at how it's completely shaking up English language arts, or ELA. So yeah, let's get into it and break down what that really means. So what exactly is project-based learning when we're talking about English class? Okay, at its core, PBL is all about learning by doing. Think about it. Instead of just doing boring drills over and over, students get to tackle real projects that actually mean something. They have to use their skills for a real purpose, for a real audience. It's not just for a grade. And look, this doesn't mean we're throwing out the fundamentals. No way. It's actually the opposite. PBL is designed to pull all those essential English skills together: reading, writing, speaking, critical thinking. They're not taught in these separate little boxes anymore. They're all woven together, like the tools you need to complete the mission. Okay, that all sounds great, right? But why is it so much more effective than the old way? What's the secret sauce here? Let's dig into the key advantages. First up, it's all about applying skills to the real world. I mean, skills just stick better when they have some context, right? Think about it. If you ask a student to write a persuasive article about a real issue in their community, or maybe create a blog to review books for their friends, suddenly, all those grammar rules, they have a point. They're not just rules anymore, they're tools to actually make an impact. And then there are the brain benefits, which are huge. When students are actually involved in a project, using their hands, getting emotionally connected, they're not just memorizing stuff for a test. They're building stronger pathways in their brain. And that, of course, leads to way better long-term memory and a much deeper understanding of the material. One of the most powerful things about PBL is just how efficient it is. A single project can help a student build a whole range of skills all at once. We're talking research, digital skills, working with others, public speaking. I mean, these are all absolutely essential for succeeding in the world today. All right, so we've covered the why this is all so effective. Now let's get practical. What does this actually look like when the bell rings and kids are in the classroom? First thing to know, it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. PBL grows with the student. So for younger kids, you might see projects focused on creative writing or some basic research, like a project called Animal Explorers. But as they get older, the projects get more complex. They might be challenged to create a whole news report or even participate in a formal literary debate. And this is where it gets really fun. Students don't just feel like students anymore. They get to take on these amazing, immersive roles. They could be a narrative architect designing a whole new world, or a research reporter digging into a big story. They could even pretend to be on a NASA review board deciding on a proposal. It just completely transforms a boring old assignment into a real adventure. And this is so, so important. This whole approach is built to be inclusive. It's for everyone. By using things like checklists and color coding, which are super helpful for neurodivergent learners, and by allowing for different ways to present their work, not everyone has to write an essay, PBL can really be tailored to support the unique strengths and needs of every single student in the room. So as we start to wrap this up, what we're really looking at is the next chapter for learning. If there's one big idea you take away from all this, what should it be? It really boils down to this. It's a shift from isolated worksheets to collaborative missions. It's all about empowering students to be active creators, not just people who sit back and passively consume information. And that brings us to one final, really powerful question. When you give students a real purpose and a real challenge, their potential is just limitless. It really makes you wonder, right? What problem are your students gonna solve next?